Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday worship service. My name is Sally Watts, and it's my pleasure to be your service leader today, along with friends Catherine Hemmons, Jim McDermott, and Ray Plummery. So as we've done for a decade or more, we begin our service today with singing Spirit of Life, which is more important today than perhaps ever before. Jeff Lovejoy recorded this wonderful rendition that we'll share with you, and those of us here just may sing along. Ray?
Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Oh, in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, winds set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Yes. I can just see you all at home singing that along with us. That's precious. So we have a few announcements. Today at 5 o'clock we'll be hosting our happy hour on Zoom. Bring your favorite beverage and your hors d'oeuvre and let's party together, okay? We've invited our guest minister, Reverend Bonnie Anderson, and her husband to join us, so perhaps they'll do so. Your invitation is in this morning's e-blast. Just click on the button that says click here, and you'll be directed to that Zoom link. If you have any troubles, send us a quick email, and we'll see what we can do to get you connected, okay? Send an email to florence.unitarian@gmail.com, and we'll help you get connected. We're also hosting our third picnic in the backyard, scheduled for July 19th at noon. This will be exciting. Bring your own everything, like we've done before. As you come into the backyard, you'll see that we've staked out areas for everyone to practice safe distancing, like we did last week. You saw the photos in the e-blast, I hope, so everybody was sitting side by side by side by side. So find your spot and settle in. And last week we had 35 of us, and I believe we all bonded as best we could with face masks on and standing 6 feet apart. Oh, one last reminder. Bring sunscreen. It gets hot back there, and I got a little sunburn last week. And wear light colored clothing so the sun can reflect instead of absorb into your body. So are there any announcements from the peanut gallery here at FOOF? No other announcements? Okay. I invite Catherine Hemmons to come forward. We're going to light our chalice as I share these words from Ellen Hamilton, titled Faith in Summer. In faith together, we light this small scrap of light, symbol of Grandfather's Son's enormous power, whose energy burns so brightly. In these days of deep summer, catapulting the leaves and vines and vegetables and flowers and fruits to astonishing size, lengths and heights, pulling over the tops of cages, walls and trellises, delighting and nourishing all beings. We bask in the warmth and the heat of these days with lightened hearts and quickened senses in gratitude and in faith. Blessed be. I have to tell you, I went out to check on my garden this morning, and the nasturtiums are taking over, the beans are climbing high, and I've got these wonderful plants. They're long and they look like a fishing pole with little flowers at the end. Oh, I had to stake them up because they got so big. So, welcome summer. So, yeah, Catherine.
Good morning, everyone. This is the time we come together to share significant events in our lives, joys and concerns. The things that concern us and the things that encourage us. We do this to reveal ourselves to each other, to be seen and heard and supported in this incredibly loving community. And if you would like something to be shared here on Sunday, please contact the FOOF website and someone will pass it on to me. On Sunday, I'll be happy to share anything from anyone. In our last service, I mentioned that Jim Negri and his partner Doug were down in California supporting Jim's brother through his end-of-life process. Well, we taped this on Friday for the Sunday service, and I got an email on Friday afternoon that Jim's brother had passed. And so now the joy is, as of about 2 hours ago, Jim and Doug have crossed the Oregon border from California into Oregon, and they will be home soon, and we are just ready to embrace them in every way possible. We can't actually hug them, you know, but we're ready to just send the most loving energy. We are so happy to have them home.
I'm going to drop a shell.
Yes. And the second, drop a shell, Sally, if you will, for our incredible success with these picnics. I mean, I know not everyone feels comfortable coming, but they have been so much fun, even in our like diminished way of being. You know, it's very hard for us not to hug each other. I mean, we always want to hug each other, but we stop and we follow the rules as they are right now. But just being in the same space with each other, that backyard, is really wonderful. So. And for the last, I ask you to drop a shell for those who cannot communicate for whatever reason with us, their joys or their concerns. But we hold you in our heart. The shell represents our collective energy going from us to you. I have a quote from Anne Frank. I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. I love that quote. So I invite our guests who are here today to join me in a responsive reading. The following words are also available for you in the e-blast, so if you'd like to follow along with us, you're more than welcome to. This comes from James Baldwin, adapted from Nothing Personal by James Baldwin and Richard Avedon. For nothing is fixed,
Forever and ever and ever.
it is not fixed.
The earth is always shifting.
The light is always changing.
The sea does not cease to grind down rock.
Generations do not cease to be born, and we are responsible to them, because we are the only witnesses they have.
The sea rises, the light fails, lovers cling to each other, and children cling to us.
The moment we cease to hold each other,
The moment we break faith with one another, the sea engulfs us and the light goes out.
That's pretty powerful. So at this time, we're going to lower the lights here at the Fellowship Hall. We've got a beautiful musical interlude from Jeff Lovejoy titled Life Goes On. And I ask you, as best you can at home or wherever you are, to relax, close your eyes and see what this music means to you, where it takes you this morning, and whenever you're listening to our service. So enjoy. delightful. I was sitting here looking at the geese are painting, and it just kind of took me down that meandering stream, or is that, I think that's the Saislo, isn't it? With the little dunes behind it. I've looked at that for many years now, and I just figured it out. Okay? So it's my pleasure to introduce our guest at the pulpit. Her name is Reverend Bonnie Anderson, and she's a friend of Dr. Marcia Pierce. So you know she can't be all that bad, right? So they share a common bond with their theology and their practice, and it's just such a delight that I introduce her and her topic of, I can't think of the title, No One is Free Unless All Are Free. Something like that, and I truly believe that's exactly what it is. So please welcome Reverend Bonnie Anderson.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you this morning. I just wish we could be together in person. My name is Reverend Bonnie Anderson, and I live in Roseburg, Oregon. Actually, we came to Roseburg to take over the church, the Center for Spiritual Living, for Dr. Marcia Pierce when she retired. And I know you love Dr. Marcia, and we have something in common because I do too. So July is a month that we look towards the idea of freedom. It is the birthright of our country, the birthday of our country. Many churches have the theme of freedom for July. And so the topic of my talk today is no one is free unless all are free. It's a very profound idea. Ernest Holmes said that freedom is the birthright of every living soul. Yet it is to be used with wisdom and compassion. It is defined as the power to act, speak, think, or do as one wishes without restriction. Yet we know that if we exercise our freedom, it is important to do so without stepping on the toes of others. And we all have the freedom to do something good. We live in extraordinary times. If anyone told you what would be happening now 5 years ago, we wouldn't have believed it, would we? We're in the midst of global warming, where we see the damage to our planet and the creatures on it. We are in the midst of a very polarizing time with the races in our country, with riots and demonstrations and much anger and violence being displayed since the killing of George Floyd. And we also, in the middle of all this, we are experiencing a worldwide pandemic. How do we stay out of the fear and the angst of these times so that we can see clearly with wisdom, so that we can navigate this time without going crazy? I know that I have found, and my friends have found, that the more time we spend on social media or on watching the news or reading articles about what is happening, the more time we spend in that, the more anxious and fearful we become. And it's important not to keep our head in the sand, but yet we can't live in this angst all of the time. It creates problems in our lives. It's stressful. So what do we do? How do we live in these times and access our higher wisdom? Well, I'm suggesting something that I do, and that is to become still. Just take some time and slow your life down and become still and go within and listen to that voice within, that small, still voice within that never leads us astray. Sometimes that means walking on the beach here in beautiful Florence, walking on the beach and watching the tides come and go. Perhaps here in Roseburg, I'll be sitting by the river, watching the flow, watching the divine flow. that is slow and steady and always there. So it's very important for us to find times to be still and to be in gratitude for all the beauty that we still have around us. And when we do this, we begin looking at things in a new way. We begin resonating, vibrating from a higher place, coming to a higher perspective on what's happening in the world. We wake up, and then many of us are asking the question, what is mine to do? Because there is something that every one of us has to do on this planet to bring more peace and love and joy into the mix, more equality. No one is free until all is free. And we each have our own part in this. So how can we be part of the solution instead of part of the problem? I'd like to tell you about a man that I recently became aware of, and his name is Father Gregory Boyle. He is an Episcopal priest that was working in LA in the midst of all the gang violence. And he developed a gang suppression system that is the largest and the most effective in the world. And this is one man that made a huge change. It's the largest and most successful gang intervention program in the world. He saw the devastating effect of gang violence. And he noticed that what the police were doing weren't working. They were trying to suppress the gang members. They were using mass incarceration, and still the killing went on. So Father Boyle took a very radical view. He started to treat the gang members as human beings. He saw the truth in them through the poverty, through the violence, through the anger, through the tattoos, and saw the truth of who they were and treated them and talked to them from that place. He provided them with counseling. He gave them tattoo removal. He gave them job skills and gave them jobs. Even when they came out of prison and they could get a job nowhere with no job experience, he gave them jobs. And they flourished. I really encourage you to watch one of his videos, his talks. Google Gregory Boyd, and you will see the beauty of him and what he is doing. He showed on the screen a tattoo of a young man who looked very frightening. His face was a picture of him. His face was full of tattoos. His eyelids and his eyebrows, everywhere there were tattoos and piercings. And Gregory Boyle said when he got to know this young man, he realized he was one of the most kindest and compassionate people he had ever met. And they showed a video of this young man working with other people, and you could see his truth shining through. Someone recognized it, and it changed his life. He started Homeboy Industries, which was born of love. And he said that, Gregory Boyle said that we belong to each other. It's not us and them, it's only us. He imagined a circle of compassion in which no one was left out. Everyone was a part of that circle. He said, close both eyes and see with the other eye. See with the inner eye, the true eye. The eye that we see through when we go within and become still. Be still and know. When you get your wisdom from within, you will be led to take the right steps. when we quiet ourselves from all the chaos around us and plumb that inner depth of wisdom that we have, you will know what is yours to do, even if it is one small step. Not all of us are going to form organizations like Gregory Boyle did, but there's one simple thing that we can do, one person that we can speak to, one change that we can make. No one is free unless all are free. And we all have the freedom to do some good. Ernest Holmes is one of my favorite teachers, and I don't know if Dr. Pierce introduced you to him, but I would like you to read to you one of my favorite passages from a book called This Thing Called You. I cleanse the windows of my mind that it may become a mirror reflecting inspiration from the Most High. I do this not with strenuous effort, but through quiet contemplation, through gently reaching out and affirming an inward recognition. Today, I walk in the pathway of inspiration. I know exactly what to do in every situation. There is an inspiration within me that governs every act, every thought, with certainty, with conviction, and in peace. The key that unlocks the kingdom of good is in my hand. I unlock the doorway of my consciousness and gently open it, that the divine presence may flood my whole being with light, illuminate my being with its radiant glow, and direct my footsteps into the pathway of peace and joy. So I ask that our footsteps are directed in the path of peace and joy. I am taking a class with 130 other ministers, white ministers, on a book written for white people called Me and White Supremacy. And it teaches us the things that we unconsciously learned as part of our white privilege, as part of growing up white in this society. And I believe that more of us now are waking up to the inequalities that exist. More of us are waking up to the biases that we were almost born with, that we can uncover and clear out. This anger and violence is being uncovered, and more people are waking up to the realities that have always been around us, but maybe we have not seen. And I ask myself, when have I been silent when I could have spoke up? When have I let myself feel white superiority because I grew up in a society that believed and taught this? We will never be able to go back to our old ways. The world has changed, hasn't it? And I have hope. I have hope. Out of this turmoil comes new beginnings, especially as we plumb the depth of our inner wisdom, the inner voice that speaks to us. We listen and act in our own ways to create that circle of compassion. So in closing, I would like to share some more words of Ernest Holmes from the same book, This Thing Called You. There was a new influx of inspiration into my thought. I see more clearly than ever before that my divine birthright is freedom, joy, and eternal goodness. I realize that this same birthright is bequeathed to all people. I rejoice that everyone has this common good. I have hope. I believe we are when I look at this and from a higher perspective, I believe that are spiraling upward on the evolution of the planet, even though it does not look pretty. So I encourage you to stay safe, to become still and plumb the inner depth of your knowledge, and know with me that all is truly well in our world, and that no one is free until all are free. Thank you.
What a lovely message, Bonnie. And I love that you're standing in the beautiful outdoors there in Roseburg. So thank you for sharing that surrounding with us. She mentioned Father Gregory Boyle, and I recall hearing about Father Boyle when I went to a board retreat for the Peace Harbor Hospital Foundation in Eugene a couple of months ago, before all this COVID. And I was given as a gift a glass inscribed quote from Mother Teresa. And it says, "If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other." So I know Bonnie refers to that in her talk, and I really appreciate that as well. I want to thank the program committee for finding Reverend Bonnie for us. This small and mighty group of foofers is searching for those individuals who can bring us inspirational and thought-provoking messages for us each week, and I think they've done a really good job so far. So if you know of someone you'd like to have here with us to present a talk, let us know, okay? We're booking out for the next few months, so don't wait too long. And again, we've invited Reverend Bonnie and her husband Andy to join us at our 5 o'clock Zoom happy hour. So having said that, let's move into our offertory. I reported to the board earlier this week that our offertory for the year, although slowed down these last few months, we still averaged $1,000 a month to give to our community partners. That's a lot of money from you who are listening today. Thank you. For July and August, we ask you to give to our community partner KXCR. We're going to ask the executive director, our friend Larry Bloomfield, to join us in the next couple of weeks to share with you the story of KXCR and why we should lend our financial support. Until then, please consider making a donation to Florence's only commercial-free radio, where many of our foofers volunteer their time and talent. Along with a contribution or pledge payment to FOOF, you can send your KXCR donation to us in many different ways. You can mail us a check, or you can click on the button in the website that says donate. Either way, you can designate how much you wish to give to FOOF and how much you wish to donate to KXCR, and we'll take care of the details. So having said that, we're going to extinguish our chalice, and I invite Catherine to come back up to extinguish the flame as I share the following from Brian Keeley. The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of you. Carry the flame with you as you leave your space today, and share with those you know, those you love, and especially those who you soon will meet. Blessed be. So we've come to the end of yet another fabulous Sunday service, and I thank all who helped along the way. We hope to see you at 5 o'clock happy hour. Remember to share your recipe for your famous hors d'oeuvre, okay? Or your cocktail. I don't know, maybe you're going to make a special cocktail. We now close, I know, do you going to make a cocktail? We're going to close with our peace song performed by our FOOF chorus, and with piano accompaniment by Laura Lee Lawrenson, and produced by Lanny Moles and Kamala Land. This particular rendition is special. As many of you know, we lost Glenn Hanko a few weeks ago. But before his passing, he and Maya got together and recorded their singing of the peace song. And with her permission, we've inserted it into this third edition of our peace song. So I invite you to enjoy this wonderful peace song, and our hearts go out to Maya and all of you who have lost someone dear. Please know our thoughts are with you. So enjoy this peace song, and we'll see you next week. Blessed be.
I was doing a little thing with